Okay, hello guys and welcome back to Chris Flies Planes. Chris here of course, and today we are doing a first look at FS Economy, which is an economy mod for Microsoft FSX. Also works for X-Plane 10, but we are flying it with the FSX Steam edition today. So basically what it gives you is the ability to actually have an economy within the game. So instead of just doing flights, which is what we normally do, you can rent planes, buy planes, you fly assignments where you take people or cargo places and get paid to do so. As you can see today, having a look at Audacity, we are currently flying 3 passengers, two Blackhead Clan members and one Strobe Air Taxi passenger to EGTK, which is Kidlington and Oxford, from EGLK, which is Blackbush. It's only a wee flight. It's only 36 nautical miles. Just doing basically a quick first look. So we've rented today a Cessna 182 Skylane with IFR, autopilot, and GPS. We've got 62 gallons of fuel, and we're paying $162 per hour. Wet just means that it's rented with fuel. Well, fuel cost is taken from the rent rather than us having to actually fuel it ourselves. So, and this journey will pay around $1,800. This will go into our bank account. We're actually going to click up here, fly for Stapleford Top Guns, which means it's going to go into the Stapleford Top Guns account, which I will explain once we're up in the air what that is. So today we are flying the A2A182 Cessna Skylane. It's a beautiful little plane. As you can see here, all the cockpits lit up. Let's just get our radios on. There we go. Not we're going to use them today, but you know, for the sake of looks. We are lined up on the runway at Blackbush. Let's have a quick look at the map. We can't because it's not there. Okay, no look at the map. Let's just jump in and go here. Let's check I've got the flight started. So we've got this little FS Economy client here. This just kind of monitors FSX on my computer and monitors the flight. As you can see, the flight is started and we are good to go. Hopefully everything is set up. So let's throttle up and get going here.
Long landing, long landing.
We're not actually landing, so ignore the RTAS there. Okay, so I'm going to jump in here, guys, and just put autopilot on straight away. Okay. Let's just see where we're at here. Okay, so as you can see, guys, I'm being a little bit lazy today and just flying with full autopilot. Honestly, I just want to kind of talk through this little game mod we're flying and also my plans with this. So we are planning to do a full YouTube series with this. That's absolutely the plan. So once we get up to altitude here, I'm just keeping an eye on everything and making sure everything's okay. So we'll just get up to altitude and make sure we're lean correctly. So I think if we arm the altitude now, when we hit 2,500 feet, which is our cruising altitude for today, It should keep us there, and it looks like we are flying to approach our heading. So everything's good. We're flying real time today, so as you can see, it's dusk here, real weather as well, so quite a lot of clouds, but it's not a major problem for us. So yeah, this is FS Economy, guys. Very simply, as I said, it creates this full online economy. You start out with nothing, and basically you rent a plane. You take on some assignments, which is normally passengers to fly from one airport to another. So you rent a plane from that particular airport and you fly passengers. You get paid for doing so, and then it subtracts out your rental costs and your ground crew and all that kind of stuff, and you make money. As you make more money, eventually you get to a point where you can actually buy an airplane instead of having to rent. Okay, looks like we're at our cruising altitude now. You buy an airplane rather than having to rent. I'm just going to pull the throttle back down and bring our RPMs down and bring our fuel flow down to there. So yeah, you get to a point where you can buy your own plane. They have a huge selection of planes, all the way from like Piper Cubs, Cessna 172s, which cost around $25,000 to $45,000, up to, you know, C-130 military transport jets, which cost millions of pounds. You can buy some planes, you can own more than one, and you can rent those planes out to either just random people, or you can create your own group in the game, as we have done. You can also build your own FBOs, which basically means at an airport, if it hasn't got an FBO already, you can build like a fueling base or a repair station or that kind of thing and make money that way. To me, as far as I'm concerned, it just gives FSX this kind of level of realism and this level of progression, which I think it really needs just to keep you playing and keep you engaged in this game. So what are we planning to do? We're at 50 minutes ETA, that's fantastic. So what are we planning to do within FS Economy? So I do want to make a series of this game. Initially it will just be kind of a standard progression, so we can do some flights, we can try and make some money. Currently we're just flying a little wee Cessna 182 four-seater. But the plan will absolutely be to start flying some bigger planes, some twin props, maybe get into jets. I'll be constantly learning as we go here. I'm not necessarily that good at some of these planes. To be honest, I'm not that fucking great in a 182, but you know, you guys will see me land. We can normally get it on the floor, even if it's not very pretty. So yeah, the plan will be to just work our way up, flying different assignments just to get money, and eventually work our way up to buying our first plane, which will likely be a Cessna 152, sorry 152. There's a couple of other planes I've looked at as well, but honestly I would love a 152. I think it's a great little plane. It's a plane I've flown in real life, albeit briefly, and a plane that Andre is getting his pilot's license in, which is really fucking cool. So the plan will be to buy one of those. We also have a group in the game already. It is called the Stapleford Top Guns. I'll go into the name a little bit more in detail at some point, but that's what it's called. So the plan will be for me and Andre to fly for this group. So we'll fly assignments to make money for this group, and this group will make money to buy an aircraft, which we will then use ourselves and perhaps rent out when we're not using it, just to make a little bit of cash. Our final plan within the series is, certainly initially, is to create an FBO at Stapleford Airport near London. We can only have a small FBO there, it's only a small airstrip, so the plan will be to have a fueling station there. Do I think it's going to get used much? No, not really, but that's not a problem for me. Our basic plan is to put in an FBO there, and buy some planes which we can rent out and just fly and have fun and make some money and buy some bigger planes, and just kind of use this as an excuse to fly different routes around the UK, different routes around Europe, and to fly different planes around Europe as well. It just kind of inspires you to kind of fly more stuff. The challenge we're facing, so me and Andrew have been having a look at this, we've been kind of planning this series. The challenge that we are facing is that to build an FBO, you need to fly supplies into the aircraft where you're planning to fly, build that FBO. We need about, I think it's 10 tons of supplies, 10,000 kilograms. This is quite a significant amount of supplies when you are flying them into an airstrip which can only accept at most a twin prop small aircraft. So we'd be looking at probably about 25 different flights within from Heathrow to Stapleford, which is probably about you know, maybe half hour, 45-minute flight, everything included. Absolutely doable, you know. It's only like between the two of us 5 hours each, but that's not the way I want to do this. So our plan is eventually to make enough money to be able to rent a Chinook. If you don't know what a Chinook is, it's the really, really epic military two propeller. Is it called a propeller on a helicopter? Blade, rotor blade, maybe two rotor blade aircraft. It's a massive helicopter for flying cargo and troops in the military. Our plan is to be able to rent one of these and fly supplies over. It's not quite the end goal, because certainly once we get the FBO up and running, we definitely want to do more flights. We want to start building up our fleet of aircraft. But this is kind of our initial end goal, and frankly, this is going to be really, really entertaining, because neither one of us can fly helicopters. Certainly, neither one of us can fly a ginormous military helicopter laden with supplies, and we're flying it into a really, really tiny airstrip outside of London. So that's basically our initial goal, is to yeah, rent a Chinook and fly a whole ton of supplies. Just having a look at where we're going to be landing here, because we're going to be landing before too long. And yeah, fly a whole ton of supplies over to Stapleford Airport, just the northeast of London. So, I'm really excited about this series, guys. It's going to be one of 3 series running on the channel alongside Red Bull Air Race for Game, which I have no intention of stopping playing anytime soon. And we're also going to try and make Aerofly FS2 into more of a series. Hopefully kind of create videos alongside the development of that game. And yeah, that's my plan for the channel for now. It's basically 3 games that I'm really enjoying flying in. I mean, I always love FS2. I always loved Microsoft FSX. It's not the prettiest looking game, though I'm going to say right now it does look pretty stunning at dusk with this beautiful cloud cover. But it's a good game, you know. There's a lot of kind of third-party support. This plane we're flying right now is the A2A Skylane 182 Cessna from Alabeo. It's beautiful. Everything is clickable in the cockpit. I don't want to click too much right now because I will die. You can see, you know, I can turn that up, keep that down. Everything runs very nicely in this game, and it's just a good-looking game. It's very fun to play. It's very accurate, and I think as a sim pilot, this game is like your bread and butter. It's the game that kind of takes you from tiny aircraft up to big aircraft. I'd like to get to a point where, you know, we could maybe own an airliner and learn how to fly that. And hopefully this mod, FS Economy, will kind of talk us through that and how we're going to do it. So, I'm very talkative tonight, aren't I, guys? I'm sorry about that. If you're here just to watch someone very quietly fly planes, gonna be honest, this may not be the YouTube channel for you. You see we're passing over an aircraft, airport just below. So the other thing I wanted to say, maybe you guys can go and elaborate this in the comments if you know a little bit more about it, but I've heard a lot of rumours recently that YouTube is starting to crack down on things on YouTube channels, for example, drinking and swearing. For some of you guys who know my channel, I wouldn't necessarily call it a mainstay of my channel, but I am absolutely a big fan of drinking and swearing. They are 2 of my favourite things in life, alongside flying planes and talking endlessly. So, apparently if you're a channel which monetizes, which obviously I do, and drinks and swears, there's a very good chance your channel will get banned by all accounts. So my plan is to no longer drink, so instead we're absolutely not drinking whiskey from a coffee cup right now. because that would be against YouTube terms and conditions. So actually we're drinking, let's say orange juice for example. And I'm going to try not to swear. I've only sworn a couple of times in this video, and it's fucking outrageous, frankly. It's obviously not big and clever, so I'm going to try and avoid the old swearing situation. We're about 8 minutes out now. I'm just going to start a very slow descent under autopilot to... I'm terrible at this autopilot, I've got to say. It's a very confusing autopilot for me. So I think basically you take the altitude arm off, you set the vertical speed down to where you want it to be, and then you arm it back, and then it will descend at the set speed, and then stop the descent when you hit the... yeah, when you hit... Sorry, my GoPro did something weird. When you... Again, I'm sorry, my GoPro is beeping and chirping and making all sorts of noises. Hopefully it's still recording. And yeah, so, sorry, when you get down to the necessary altitude, which we have set for 1,000, which we meant to have set to 1,000 feet. Okay, let's try that again. So we're going to set that down to 1,000 feet, and then arm. Okay, sorry guys, I'm getting a little bit confused here. So we're going to unarm the altitude. We're going to drop our vertical speed down to that. Then rearm the altitude, maybe... This is very confusing right now. Okay, I'm absolutely baffled right now with what's happening here. Oh, I see what we're doing. Okay, so we weren't hitting arm, we were hitting altitude repeatedly. Okay, so we're going to descend down at 300 feet per minute. I got a little bit confused there, but I need to do a little bit more reading in the manuals on these aircraft. But looks like we're all set now, so I'm going to have a little bit of orange juice. So this is a lovely single malt orange juice from the Scottish Highlands, I believe. 16-year aged, this orange juice, which you'd think would make orange juice taste a bit weird, but honestly it tastes pretty good to me. There's something about orange juice that just makes me feel really happy and warm, right down in here, so take what you may from that. So I'm assuming those lights ahead are our airport. I'm just going to lean over onto my laptop here and check the runway heading. We are flying into London Oxford Kidlington Airport by the looks of it. Sorry if this is terrible footage, guys, but just want the runway headings here. Doesn't sound right to me. There's some very interesting little 3D buildings right there. Okay, so that completely failed in terms of me finding headings. It looks like this is the airport directly off our nose. That would certainly make sense. So we are going to
Flaps.
disable the autopilot and we're going to fly in here. It's going to try and maintain our vertical speed. So as always, we're not going to be joining the pattern. I'm going to go to full throttle, not full throttle, sorry, full RPM, full mix. And we're just going to do a straight in flight here as always, because as I'm sure you guys know, I don't believe in joining patterns. I probably should. Andre, who, as I mentioned in most videos, is training to get his PPL, his private pilot's license, is always telling me how to fly, and frankly, I'm pretty useless. I am at the very least, however, going to try and join the runway here as neatly as possible, just to try and make my life a wee bit easier. I can't tell you guys how many flights I've already screwed up in FS Economy. Luckily, the penalties for crashing are actually very reasonable. It just cancels out your flight, so all you actually waste is time and not money, which seems, I mean, it seems reasonable, I guess, but it's not true to real world so much, because aside from the fact I would probably die based on some of my landings, also I don't think the passengers would be overly pleased. We've turned in a little bit early there. Let's just keep bringing it around nice and slowly here. Let's throttle back. Let's throttle right back here. And get below 100 knots. We can flaps down. I mean, to me, that looked like quite a nice lineup.
Flaps.
Let's just try and get our vertical speed down and get our actual speed down, and let's get our first stage of flaps. Let's get our second stage of flaps. And our final stage of flaps. Another thing I'm planning to do, guys, which I have not done yet, is try and get my actual
Approaching 0-1.
controls mapped a little bit better on my joystick and throttle. I consistently seem to have this mismatch in games where I never know what the flaps button is, what the gear button is, what the brakes are, so we could definitely be over a little bit more to the left.
Unstable. Unstable.
I am unstable, you are right. I'm going to throttle up. So I've talked to Andre a lot about my landings. One of the big issues I seem to have fairly consistently is just a lack of speed control, really. So I'm going to err on the side of having a little bit more speed than I perhaps need. Just to make sure I have that room, we're going to... Okay, I'm just going to go quiet for a moment here, guys, just while I concentrate. Again, we are a little bit over where we want to be. Let's bring her in. And try and keep our vertical speed. Okay. I mean, guys, that was not a pretty landing as always, but we are down on the runway. as much as our passengers. Oh my god, there's another plane there. Oh guys, that's what happens if you don't join the pattern. Thank you for watching. This was our first look at FS Economy and FSX. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video and want to see more. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you very much.